How's it going? Wednesday Linc. We are here, the regularly scheduled time, just a couple minutes behind, but basically right on time. So, Thomas, it's good to see you. There's just, still trying to make sense of coming off of Black Friday and the longer extension delay and
Yeah,
everything
right.
else. But there's a decent amount to talk about, which I'm sure we'll get into. How we doing?
Doing well. Yeah, appreciate being back on a normal time Wednesday linked. My fault the past couple weeks. We're month or week 4 with a newborn baby, and she's really not that hard, but still, night times are a little bit more difficult. So we got some time now. We can talk about the Birds, Darius Slay, the Chargers, what happened in the Bears game. Let's jump right into it.
There we go. Lots to talk about. Shout out to everybody in the chat. As always, we appreciate you guys. Make sure to drop a like for us. Sub if you haven't already. We've got some crazy giveaways that have continued to happen, but will throughout the season, even though the Eagles have hit a little bit of a dry spell nonetheless. But they've won 4, lost 2, won 4, lost 2.
Yeah.
Some people going like, well, hey, maybe we win 4, lose 1.
Yeah,
We can't do
maybe.
the lose 2 part. If it's a win 4,
No.
lose 2, that means it's an automatic bounce out of the playoffs. So that would be the second loss if this streak keeps up. But the schedule, right? We've talked about this, even coming off of the Chicago game. It happens after every single loss. So we'll kind of like preface it with that. Every loss, the knee-jerk reaction, and I understand because people are going to go like, yeah, but hold on, the way it looks. I'm not talking about that. I understand. So just put that out there with the disclaimer. But after a loss, the knee-jerk reaction is, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. This is ridiculous. This is terrible. And then you start coming off of the loss and then trying to process, okay, how did we get there? What happened? The offense has been the same issues just about every single week, even on the wins. Like, we can honestly say that. That has not changed. So got to figure something out. I don't know that they will. We've both kind of said it at this point. It's like they need to show us. There's no saying whatever they want to because they talk about a new wrinkle and Tank Bigsby doesn't even see the field practically or certainly doesn't get a handoff. But defensively, that was more of the just initial alarming part of it to go, oh my gosh, this defense is, I thought the run defense was fixed. And they just gave up 280 rushing yards. But then the more that you dig into the numbers and see the reasonings or the possibility for that, it's like, yeah, but they've played the most snaps out of any defense in the NFL the last 4 weeks. No wonder they finally broke. It's like Fran Duffy said, the dam was bound to break at some point. You can't keep asking, as the Eagles offense did, for the defense of the Eagles to go back out on the field and hold serve every single time. Eventually it caught up with them, and here we are.
Philadelphia had 17 plays in that first half on offense. 17, which is unbelievable. They had 89 total yards. They had a 30-yard chunk. So really it was 50 yards-ish on 16 plays in that first half. Defense can only hold on so long. Jalen Carter is still dealing with that shoulder injury. He's had it the entire season. I did a show about this a couple of days ago, how he is definitely playing below the level we thought he would. And then Vic Fangio comes out today and says, well, the shoulder is still bothering him. And I kind of go, oh, well, maybe I'm criticizing a guy who's not 100% and hasn't been the entire season, which makes sense. It's not like Jalen Carter's been bad. He's just not been the next Aaron Donald like we thought he would in the little trend word so far this season. But I'm less worried about the defense. I am still extremely worried about the offense. And the Hard Knocks episode, which I'm not sure if you've watched yet, I watched it last night.
Yes,
It was perfectly put out there for us to buy back into the Eagles because they lose to the Cowboys, they blow this lead, and then Nick Sirianni and Brandon Graham and everyone's talking about get right and it's going to be okay. And you're like, yeah, we're going to be okay. And then, of course, we know what happens next. They go and play the Bears and get absolutely spanked. So, must win. It's such a stupid word because it's not a must win. Philadelphia could lose to the Chargers and then win the rest of their games and still host a playoff game, win the division, and go win a Super Bowl. But let's just be real here. For morale in Philadelphia, everybody outside the NovaCare complex and maybe inside as well, they have to win on Monday night. There's absolutely no scenario where they lose on Monday night and there's anybody still buying into this football team, especially if the offense keeps looking as bad as it does. And the problem that we have, Josh, it's getting worse. Like, we forget that it was really good in the second half versus the Los Angeles Rams. It was really good in that first half versus the Denver Broncos. It was fantastic for most of the game against the Vikings. All the game against the Giants, it was bad basically the entire night, except for 1 or 2 drives versus the Chicago Bears. And the Bears defense is not good. And the Charger defense is technically better. And so, like you say, Kevin Patullo, he tells us every single week they're making changes. They got wrinkles. They're adjusting. They're looking inward. And we're like, oh, okay. But, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 13 weeks in a row, and then maybe it's shame on me, right? That's the whole problem. So I'm not necessarily confident the offense is going to look better. I know the defense will look better, but they got to win on Monday night. And it's going to be probably a Justin Herbert-led Chargers team. I still think he's going to be questionable. I know today it's like, I'm going to try and play. I think it's a little bit bigger of an injury than people realize. He had a plate and screws put into his left hand. Any sort of hit on that could be a real problem. Either way, big game. It's a big game for the Chargers, too, because they obviously, after that, got to play the Kansas City Chiefs. They're probably battling it out for the 6th or even the 7th seed in the AFC wildcard race. It's a big night on Monday night, and they've got to look good on national television, Josh, and not blow a lead or be unable to move the football.
Yes, and that is even
ask.
hearing that come out of your mouth.
Big ask.
To go, do I believe that can happen? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I want to have optimism. And you talking about Hard Knocks, by the way, if people did not watch it, you didn't miss a whole lot. It wasn't the most riveting thing. I will say
It really wasn't.
that it was cool to see the interaction from Jalen Hurts. That was, I think, the biggest takeaway from it of and not that we didn't necessarily know this, and I think the majority of people understood this, but for the people that are just criticizing Hurts and be like, bro, like it's annoying. He's just sitting there.
my
He's
gosh.
a bump on a log. He doesn't care at all. He's affected by nothing. It's like, there you go. You saw a little bit more behind the scenes, a little bit more of it mic'd up, and say, oh, really? You got to be kidding me. What? Jalen Hurts is a competitor? Like, he gets ticked off when he misses play. Oh, wow. You really?
Shocker.
Like, how is that a surprise to everybody else? You know, he's a Super Bowl MVP for a reason. He's won these games. Winning is the only thing that matters when he messes up. But I appreciate the fact that, like, he's going over there. He's talking to A.J. Brown. He's talking to Devonta Smith. He's saying, my bad. I got to make those plays, telling the offensive line the same thing. Now, again, it doesn't make it better for the mistakes that he had for the fumble. Sure, like, they were on him, and he played one of his worst games all season. But maybe it can hopefully put a little bit of just, I don't know, I'm not even saying like confidence in the offense, obviously, because they've not been there, but a little bit of reprieve, I guess, for like a Jalen Hurts thought of like, oh my gosh, he's just not it. Because, yeah, he's had his issues, but play calling, look at the routes, look at the options.
Oh my
that
gosh,
they
I
have.
know.
Look at what they're giving him. It's not maximizing it anywhere close. And so then, yeah, you add on top of it the communication issues, everything there. I appreciate what Jordan Mailata said, and if people did not catch it, paraphrasing basically, he says it's not 2023.
Right.
Just, quit saying that. This is not the case. He was obviously a player then. But the thing that he points to, Thomas, and this is the love Jordan Mailata. Huge fan. We're all fans of Jordan Mailata. But, like, I hear him say the main thing is, like, the details. Like this season, the attention to detail, the practices, where we're focusing on, all that other stuff. It was not there in 2023. Okay, fine. Maybe they weren't. Maybe the practices themselves were not there. But come Sunday, what's different? Like, they may be practicing it a lot more. It's every single time. It's a penalty. It's attention to detail with the choice route with Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts not being on the same page. You miss a touchdown there. It's attention to detail for getting penalties off of big plays. That's like, oh, there's a 30-yard. Now it's coming back, because it's gotten to the point now where when we're calling the game, you're like, oh, hey, breaks off for a 30-yard gain, and we have to like kind of lower the levels of expectation there, because like, but wait, is there a flag coming on? It's ridiculous, but it's because of those details. And so I appreciate the fact that they preach it ad nauseum, but we haven't seen it show itself on the field. Now, can it get turned around? As you said, technically, there's enough time. Technically, they could do it. But as we've said, I think they've got to show it to us and not just say it. Jake, appreciate the super chats here. I'll get to some of these. For the two, said, been a wild week being an Eagles fan in Illinois. That would be a little tough coming off of the Bears loss.
Nope.
Yeah, shout out to you, Jake. But keep the faith. We at least got the Super Bowl from last year. I don't know. Maybe they changed something, even though KP's not being changed, and he also said he's not going up to the press box. Interesting enough, or going up to the box or the booth, for calling plays. I appreciated at least Nick Foles throwing out the suggestion of like, look, if we're not going to fire him, like, let's have a real conversation. Maybe we do that. Maybe the 15 scripted plays on the note cards or the flash cards and do those per quarter. It sounds incredibly elementary, but at this point, KP can't seem to go back to things that are working earlier. So if it helps to have a cheat sheet of sorts, go for it. It doesn't sound like we're going to get those changes. So I really don't know. Dylan with the 5, our guard is the only different player on offense from 2024. If we lose to LA and our offense doesn't score 20, both KP and Nick can be shipped off.
Well, I do think, and I think this is an important point to make. KP will likely be demoted if they lose and look bad on Monday night. I mean, we've said it every single week, but 3 losses in a row. It was 2 with Sean Desai, and then he quietly got demoted. Actually, probably the week before, because we don't know exactly when that happened. And then they lost again, and then he was officially relieved of his duties, still on the defensive roster, I guess. But insert Matt Patricia. Nick Sirianni has to understand and has to start feeling the pressure that if a 2023 type collapse happens again, where they're 8-2 and running away with the NFC East and right there for the 1 seed with the same exact roster as the Super Chat just said, if he has another collapse and they either lose the division, which is very much in play with how red hot Dallas is right now, and their schedule's not that tough. They beat a floundering Lion team tomorrow night. It's going to get really interesting, really fast. Then Nick Sirianni starts feeling the breath on the back of his neck, and it's like, okay, I got to do something. And that something will be Kevin Patullo, because he's got to save his own butt first. Axe his guy, Kevin Patullo, and that nothing changes, then maybe, just maybe, we could have with Nick Sirianni towards the end of the season if it goes really dark. So I do think that this truly, after saying it for weeks now, is Kevin Patullo's final straw, because you can't lose this one. Because if they lose this one and Dallas wins on Thursday night, it gets a lot trickier to go ahead and make sure they wrap up the division, because then they have to win 4 of their last 4 to guarantee that even a Cowboy undefeated on their last 4 does not beat them for the NFC East. So I think that this would probably be it.
Which is crazy to say that, but I mean, there's a whole lot of an argument to be made on that side, and I can't imagine that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, and this is what we were saying this past weekend, making the game recap videos and everything else. How do you sit there and you watch that and say, oh yeah, we're not going to necessarily make any changes there, and this is personnel changes, right? Obviously, for the coaching, personnel changes. They've told us time and time again, we're making changes on the offensive scheme, the system, the play calling. We're going to have a lot of new wrinkles, and nothing has changed from that standpoint. So I'm with you. I think that's the case, but I still also don't know how to say it, because we've had the same instance for the last several weeks, And it's like, I guess they're just going to keep rolling with it. At some point, surely they make a change. I hate the fact that, I mean, the Eagles are favored technically if we're looking based off the line there, but I hate the fact that the total on the game is 40. I think it was 40.5 the last time I checked. That does not suggest that the Eagles offense is going to hit their stride. That suggests we're talking about like a 20-17 game. If the Eagles win, depending on how that goes, maybe we're feeling a little bit better about that. But we really need to see one of those, especially in a dome. Like, it's going to be great weather. You're not going to have any issues there, so we can't use the wind as an excuse anymore. We need to see one of these games that's like, wow, there's a complete game. The Eagles offense scored 28 points. They scored 31 points, firing on all cylinders, have a little more confidence. But the way it's looking, it might be a little bit different, but if the defense can hold serve, they're going to have to stop the rushing attack, because the Chargers have kind of gained momentum.
Yeah.
Might have a Marion Hampton as well, so add another element to that. Obviously, you mentioned earlier, too, for Justin Herbert, see if he ends up playing, because it will be a big difference on that. But I don't know. There's so many other sides to this, and I'm like, they just continue to talk until they're blue in the face, but if we don't see legit changes and impact on it, then who really cares? So
yeah, totally agree.
Dylan, appreciate that, though. Yes, I think everybody is beyond where you're at as far as KP and Sirianni. They need the changes, especially if this week doesn't happen. David with a 5. Don't know why they pulled QB1 out from center for the last few when it did so well against the Vikings and Giants. And we need pre-snap motion. Go Birds.
Yeah, they just refused to go under center now, and that was something that really worked. I mean, even running the football, it seemed like they kind of got things going, running under center, bringing in Cameron Latu. They always seem to have success when he's in there, and yet they choose to grab Grant Calcaterra as the main blocking tight end, which makes no sense. But either way, I had a thought earlier today. I was thinking about this, Josh, because right now, Hard Knocks kind of revealed that a lot of people in the media in Philadelphia were wrong to criticize Jalen Hurts about that miss to Devonta Smith, and Hard Knocks showed that Jalen is not, a dick, essentially, and not talking to anybody on the sideline like a lot of people were pushing in the Philadelphia media. And yet there's still kind of this faction of like, it's Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni, or there's probably 20% of Eagle fans, it's Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts is the problem. I was thinking about this, like, if Philadelphia really thought that Jalen Hurts was this terrible quarterback who needed a vanilla-style offense, like they had to run the most hitch routes of any NFL team by far because of Jalen Hurts, wouldn't they just eventually go, you know what? We're going to throw everything at him That way he proves to our fan base that it's his fault and not our own. And then eventually we can say, hey, we're giving him a total normal NFL offense. He can't handle it, and we're going to move off of him, right? The idea that an NFL team, even one that has invested money in a quarterback, would not be willing to move off of said quarterback if he was a serious problem is ridiculous. It happens all of the time. Ask the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. They showed the fan base, it's not us, the coaching staff, it's Russell Wilson, right? And now the Denver fans are like, okay, get us a new quarterback. If that was the case in Philadelphia, they would prove to us that Jalen Hurts is the problem. But they haven't been able to do that because the offense continues to be so darn vanilla. And it's almost impossible for any of us to kind of dissect, is Jalen really that bad this year? Is it the offense this year? Because they're running an offense that's so darn basic. It's like everybody in Minnesota knows J.J. McCarthy's not the guy because he's running an NFL-style offense and cannot make it work. Jalen Hurts is sometimes making the most vanilla offense in the National Football League work, and sometimes not. And we're sitting back going, I wonder what the problem is. So it's just an interesting thought that I had because it's like the Eagles, if Jalen was the actual problem, should prove it to us. And they clearly are not trying to do that, which tells me he's not the problem. Shocker, he won a Super Bowl. Like, it shouldn't be rocket science here, but you get where people go with these sort of things. It shouldn't be this difficult, and yet for whatever reason it is. And that's when you continue to wonder, why doesn't Nick Sirianni step in and do something? Why doesn't Scott Loeffler? Maybe he's behind the scenes. I don't know what kind of power he has. Is he part of the problem? Is he not? But I've been told he's this offensive genius. Someone's got to step in and go, guys, we have got to do something different. And if that is attacking the middle of the football field like they did in the final 4 minutes of the Bears game when, yes, the Bears were playing a little softer coverage, but they were carving up the middle and moving the ball down the field and scored the touchdown to A.J. Brown, do it. Make it happen because people's jobs are going to be on the line, as I said earlier, if they have a collapse. If Dallas wins this division, I don't know if Nick Sirianni survives. He's not going to survive in the court of public opinion.
Yeah,
every single Eagle fan will want him gone. But I don't know if he actually survives this because we've gotten rid of Andy Reid in the past, and we got rid of Doug Peterson a couple years after for very similar stuff. Maybe with a lesser quarterback and Carson Wentz, who knows? They got to figure it out, and it's got to start this Monday night.
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean, that's a whole other case that we get to. But yes, if they lose the division, I think that it's for sure. You can't have.
Yeah, it could be.
And it's the most, like, you look at it from both sides. You say, well, on one hand, he just won a Super Bowl. How could you do that?
Yeah.
But then you look at, but there's been 2 collapses, essentially. There's been 2 seasons following the Super Bowls. And we understand the whole Super Bowl hangover. It happens to a lot of teams. It's not just the Eagles. All that, yes, that's fine. But the way that it occurred and the reasons they're having these issues, there's a common denominator. And it's the fact that you don't have an offensive play caller in your head coach. You don't have an offensive mastermind in your head coach. So you have to go to OCs, and they choose to go to inexperienced guys who then it's like, well, okay, we are back to square one. We're back to the same reason, and we're going to continue to have this unless we bring in the equivalent of a Vic Fangio at offensive coordinator. You need a journeyman who's only going to be OC, whose aspirations are never to be anything else than an offensive coordinator.
Right.
And then maybe it sticks, and you're able to actually make it work. But unless you have that occur, it's going to be the same issues. You're going to have the same problems. So you got a Super Bowl out of it. At least that worked out for Kellen Moore. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Jaelen, and you even take away from the Chicago game before they got down and late in the game and just, had to resort to more aggressive style of play. They still, you look at percentages wise, they were almost middle of the pack in terms of tendencies, and this is just for week 13. So, not the whole holistic view of the season, but just week 13. They were like middle of the pack in cross routes and crossers. That's like the first time all year, or maybe the second time, right? You saw it in the Vikings game more. Second time. And you wonder because you go, yeah, it does work. And Jaelen can hit those routes. He's shown the ability to do that. And so
time and time again.
I go back to the same comment as well. It's like, look, Jaelen, right, after the Rams game, we got to stop playing to lose. Where's that coming from? What is that? What is that? That's not him saying this is me. That was his way of going, there's something there. There's something with this. And so I believe, because it's the tendencies of it, right? And we're looking at the hitch routes to, just spam them to death. It's like I think that they are so bought into don't turn the football over and you win the game. that
Yep.
it's like we're going to take as little amount of risk as possible because, sure, there's more risk. If you throw the ball in the middle of the field, there's more bodies. There's more opportunities to have a ball get batted by a defensive lineman, a ball, to a linebacker that you don't see in coverage, a safety breaking down a route. We've seen it all the time. Most of the interceptions are going to occur in that area. But there's also the EPA per play that you look when you have effectiveness and you're aggressive at scheming that up, especially with guys like A.J. Brown and Smitty. It's just night and day difference. So yes, whenever they go to it, and then you think about what it was after the NFC Championship game that they finally let me out of my straitjacket.
That's right.
What's that from Jalen?
What was
Hurts?
that? What was that? Yeah.
That's not him saying, "Oh, I didn't want to do that." Right? So now we're going to go ahead and run it. So I don't know. I think common denominator. I'm right there with you. At the end of the day, tape doesn't lie. And so we are not tape experts. We're not film experts like that, but we still do go through and comb the desert, so to speak, for other people sharing things and going, hey, look at this. Oh, they're actually running some good routes. Or most weeks, well, there's your routes. That's your option, Jaelan. Good luck.
Yep.
And so try to share it as much as we can. And I think it's pretty evident where the issues are and the tendencies too. So Owen with a 5. I live in Peoria. I think I said that correctly, Illinois. Surrounded by Bears fans this week has been horrible. LOL.
Yep. One thing about the Bears, though, right? Like the Bears are flying high, but they're kind of like the New England Patriots. If they get to host a playoff game, like let's say the Bears win the North, they're going to be hosting a Seattle, a San Francisco. They could be hosting a Tampa Bay. They could be hosting a Philadelphia or a Dallas, right? No one is going to take the Chicago Bears in that situation in their first real playoff game under Ben Johnson, under Caleb Williams. They, to me, feel like a team that is still a year away and that could be got in the playoffs with a little bit of adversity. They're playing great. They spanked Philadelphia. I mean, they got us bad. But the Bear fans who are taking, and I'm really good friends with a Bear fan here in Atlanta, and he is kind of pumping the brakes and going, guys, like we need to chill a little bit here. Chicago could lose this coming weekend, and with a bunch of other help, be the 7th seed by Monday night or Monday, at midnight or whatever it is. NFC's crazy right now, and so Chicago, I think, needs to pump the brakes a little bit, like everybody else does, because the Rams just lost to Carolina. We just lost to the Bears. The Niners have been very much up and down. I mean, the entire thing is a mess right now, and we don't know how the playoff seeding is going to land. And if you're Chicago, enjoy it because it might last longer, or it might be done a lot quicker than you realize.
It's the madness of the NFL this season. But I will say that, and Vegas doesn't buy the Bears either at all.
No,
because they were 7-point underdogs to the Eagles. And then this week, I think they're 6 or 6.5 point underdogs to the Packers.
Yep.
That's coming off of thrashing the Eagles on Black Friday.
Yep.
And you'd think, oh, maybe it's a little bit of closer. No, they're absolutely saying the Packers are a clear-cut favorite. So the Bears could very well win. Like, certainly could. We've seen that before. They've proven Vegas wrong. But you look at the consistency of that and saying, even what they've shown so far, I think Vegas is like, they're outperforming. We don't see that keeping up in the playoffs. Ryan with a 5. Which one of you egged Patullo's crib? Figured that one would be thrown up there.
Can I say something
point,
about that? Let me just say something. First off, it's ridiculous. You cannot do that.
Totally.
Right? It's like it's so immature. It could be illegal. Don't do it. It doesn't matter what the Eagles do in the grand scheme of things of all of our lives, even though it is all of our lives. It feels like it's Josh and my life. It's our income, right? I mean, come on. It's what we do for a full-time job. At the same time, and this is not me condoning it at all. It's terrible. Let's just make sure we say that. The headlines that his house was vandalized made it sound like people like broke windows and then like thrashed around his living room and stole his TV. Kids were throwing eggs at his house. Again, terrible. Do not do it. You are an idiot for doing that, and I'm sure the cops are looking for you. But it was funny seeing the headlines acting like it was this crazy event where half his house was burned down, and in reality, it was a bunch of probably 14-year-olds being stupid for TikTok and throwing eggs at it. Again, I'm not saying it's the worst. I'm not saying that there's no justification there, but it was a little funny because I read headlines and people were like, "Oh my goodness," and it was like, okay, these are kids being absolute idiots, and it's what kids do.
Yeah, we've all made mistakes. I said that on the live stream last night, and I was like, it's lame. It's totally uncalled for. It's idiotic. It's ridiculous. If you know anybody who did it, hopefully, they learn their lesson and never do that again. But to both
should
of
they
us,
go
and I
to
know that we feel
jail
this
and
way.
ruin
It's
their
like,
lives for it? Probably not.
right. But it's like we have kids, right? And so there's a different element of it as well. And if you feel like your home, your invasion of privacy and
Oh,
your
for
own
sure.
family and everything else, as
Totally
minuscule
agree.
as, oh, it's just eggs, it's not going to hurt anything.
Yes.
It does. First off, it does damage too. Like, it's
Oh,
small, but
100%.
it does damage
100%.
to it. So it's like, okay, there's something there, but it's just uncalled for to begin, because that's, and we can hate on Kevin Patullo, we can yell at him, we can boo him, we can put up fire Patullo signs around the city and everywhere else. But when it goes to his place
100%.
of living, his home, where his family's at, it's like
That's the ridiculous
come
part.
on, there's
Yes.
absolute limits there. So,
100%. No,
but
I totally agree.
Again,
I
as you're
totally
saying,
agree.
it's
The headlines just seem
teenagers
to be very
being
blown out
idiots,
there.
and
Yeah.
we've all done something stupid. So hopefully,
Pedro says eggs are expensive to be wasting. That's probably the worst
That's
part.
also-
They're
yeah,
way too
I mean,
expensive right now. I mean, gee whiz, a whole
they're-
carton's like $9 right now. You throw that at someone's house, you got to save those and eat them. I mean, it's ridiculous out
just
here.
lighting money on fire here.
Literally.
We got one from Brian with I think this is the yen, 1,000 with the Y symbol. I think that's yen. We appreciate it, though. Thank you. I'll be a fan until the end, but I'm not confident in the offense right now. They will be desperate on Monday, but I can't see anything major changing at this point. But even just fixing the penalties, I think is like a win or a benefit.
Yeah,
That's where he's going.
No,
with it.
I think that's the response from most rational Eagle fans, right? We're ride or die until the end. Even if they make the playoffs and they limp in there, we're all going to be like, I remember in 2023 being like, we could beat the Bucks, right? Yeah, we could beat the Bucks. And then obviously we got spanked.
Felt
by the
like
Bucks.
that,
Like,
yeah.
oh yeah, we were never going to beat the Bucks. But at the same time, most of us have eyes. Most of us understand it's not week 5. If it was week 5, I said on my show 2 days ago, we would all be like, they're going to figure it out. And we were 5 weeks ago. It's week 13 or 14. Like, come on, this is getting ridiculous. Are they going to magically flip a switch? I hope so. Do I
Hope
want
and
to
pray.
bet my house that they're going to do that? No, I do not, because
Nope.
my eyes are not going to deceive me. I've watched enough Eagle football under Nick Sirianni to know this is probably what we're going to get, and unfortunately, that's probably going to be the case. Good news, schedule is easy. Kevin Patullo, again, he's probably coaching for his job. Hopefully, he figures things out and saves that job. Every Eagle fan should want him to save his job, because that means they're actually winning games, because they're not going to keep him if they obviously don't play well.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see. You have 5 weeks. It starts Monday night. They lose that game. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's we're all hopeful, like you said, but it's reached the point of really beyond desperation, because we've gone so many weeks now. They've gotten wins against teams that you look back and you say, especially with the offensive efficiency,
I know.
it's like it shouldn't
I
happen.
know.
I
know.
You could call it luck or whatever. They still won those games, and yeah, if they get to any sort of average level of offense, then all right, hey, now we're cooking. But yeah, it's so late, and the offense has not gotten anything. The running game is non-existent. There's so many issues that we've gone over time and time again. But we'll still hold out hope. The 0.0001% chance of something magically turning around in the offense, like, hey, they just ran for 200 rushing yards, and
I know.
They're running crossers and slants and getting the rest of
They
the guys
do
involved.
like that SoFi Stadium. They've had a lot of success inside
That's
SoFi
true.
Stadium.
That
But
is,
the
yeah,
Saquon
maybe so.
record-setting game, week whatever it was, 12 last year, or even before that when BG got hurt. And then even in 2023, they went there, crossing routes to A.J. Brown. They threw the football pretty well in a shootout with Stafford. So
That's true. Yep,
maybe the stadium figures it out, because they can't win at the Link recently. But
Jalen Carter got 2 sacks. Jordan Davis, I think, almost killed Kyron Williams, if I'm not mistaken, on a tackle.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. We'll never fully give up hope, I don't think, but it's definitely waning quite a bit.
Yeah.
John with a 5. KP may need the kindergarten print for his playbook. Go Birds.
Maybe.
The kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Seems
it's been
that
the
way.
elementary offense. So I don't know. It's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's been this difficult for him. Legacy with a 5. I'm in LA. There you go. And was super excited about Monday Night Football, but now I'm nervous AF. Anyone coming out and want to get together before the game and pray?
Not a bad
takers?
idea. Not a bad idea.
Anybody in
I've
the
seen a
chat?
couple people who are flying there from Philadelphia and are like, it's an expensive ticket. Let's hope it's not a waste. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. The Chargers, though, are very weird. Like, the Chargers have had a couple of games where you're like, oh, this feels like, the bad Chargers of last year where they got spanked in the playoffs in the first round by the Houston Texans. And you're like, oh, they were frauds the entire time.
Yeah.
And then they have games where you're like, oh, they're actually pretty good. But we'll see.
Herbert
We'll see.
threw for what, 81 passing yards 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago,
Something like
whatever
that.
it was.
Yep.
He's had just so up and down. And yeah, you're right. They lost the Giants 21-18 or something like that earlier this season. So same deal. It wouldn't surprise me, but I just I don't even know like score predictions yet. Honestly, I haven't really gotten to that point of like, do I feel like the Eagles? Because I've continued to say, oh well, this is the week. This is the week we're gonna actually make it happen. I don't know. It does. It feels like I'm at that point where they need to prove it to me, and so maybe just pick the Chargers for the heck of it, and then hopefully I'm wrong. That would actually be the good thing. Just pick them, and then the Eagles about face, they prove me wrong. We're like, oh, there you go. There's something. So Chad with the 5. What's up, guys? Thomas, you ready for rain the rest of the week in Atlanta weather? KP definitely needs to be demoted.
No, I'm not. And I don't think people want to hear me talk about the weather in Atlanta, but it's been terrible recently. So, no, the answer is absolutely I'm not ready for it. But that's how Atlanta works, especially in November. Not fun. By the way, I got to give a quick shout out to Aunt Kelly and Chase, who are watching the show right now, who are friends of the show. And apparently Chase, a longtime watcher of the show. Chase, shout out to you, buddy. Appreciate you watching. And hopefully you'll watch the Birds win on Monday night. We'll see. We'll definitely see.
Could definitely use one. And we'll see. If they don't, to the previous Super Chat comment there, yes, maybe KP is finally demoted. Advocate with a 5. I went to give Paterno some holiday greetings, but the rocks in my hand slipped out and hit his house. My bad. So we have someone that's...
Okay. Confessing. There it is.
Confessing to it, yes.
There it is. Again, we are definitely not condoning that. Whoever did that is an absolute idiot. And then filming it has got to be the dumbest thing you possibly could do. Because then it wouldn't even been a story. But of course, everyone's got a cell phone now, and every kid wants to go on TikTok. And it was like, what are we doing? So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, guys, please no. Out of all the things that we can do, go hold a Fire Patullo sign at the entrance NovaCare complex.
Sure,
that is like totally fine. And you'll probably still go viral for it. You'll get your little shot on NBC Philadelphia. It'll be really fun. Twitter will go nuts. But yeah, going to his house was the main problem there. So even
his family does not deserve
don't really
any of that.
Yeah, the family for sure. I even think about Nick Sirianni. People love to rip Nick Sirianni. And watching Hard Knocks, he talks about his family so much. And you're like, this is just a guy who has a wife and kids. And the kids probably think the world of him.
Sure.
And all the hate is just, it's just, it puts it into perspective whenever you talk about families too.
100. Absolutely. Dylan with the 5. Nick is all about we versus me until it's time to take accountability for himself and KP. Then he rambles about wrinkles and details for 3 minutes.
He definitely rambles. As two people who watch the most Nick Sirianni press conferences of any human being alive, most of it is just jargon. But Nick Sirianni did buy himself time by winning a Super Bowl. It's so hard to win Super Bowls. Go back through the list of the past 20 years and look for someone not named Brady or Mahomes or Belichick or Reed or Tomlin or Harbaugh. Like these are all people that we just put on this massive pedestal. And to make 2, let alone win 1, is so difficult that it feels like he has earned the right to be the Eagle head coach long term. And yet, as we said 10 minutes ago, if he blows this again, and he blows it, and it's under his watch, the offense doesn't get better with all these weapons. I don't know. And then what I do know is that Philadelphia then becomes the hottest ticket in the entire NFL coaching search. Forget back in 2021 or 2020, whenever they officially axed Doug Peterson, we were not considered a hot place. We were considered, yes, one of the more prestigious. Yes, they have Howie Roseman. We were just coming off the Carson Wentz debacle, and it's like they got to figure out their quarterback. This is a mess. There were a lot of other jobs considered way higher, and that's why Nick Sirianni was a nobody that they kind of grabbed, and a lot of people were like, boy, that's the best that they could do. If they went around this time,
remember the introductory press conference.
Right? Ben Johnson's of the world, whoever you consider that to be, the premier head coach who's going to get hired this offseason, probably takes Philadelphia as the very first job, which could make ditching the current head coach easier, even though I don't think it will happen, barring, an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, because he's still, regardless if we argue or can't really say what he does, what his official role is within the team, because the play calling was basically told to, get lost. Don't be calling the plays. Kellen Moore's going to be doing this and everything on that. But he still coached the team, and the team has his back. For it still comes down to that every time you hear the press conferences and the guys talk about it. But it's irritating. No, not gonna lie, it's irritating hearing the press conferences and the word salad that he gives you all the time. It was a little bit different. And shout out to Anthony DeBona, who brought this up last night, that Sirianni said some things differently than he normally does in the last press conference, following the Bears defeat, not the immediate one, but I think the Monday presser. He's talking about we got some other changes, some other things there. I know they've said that to a certain extent, but he didn't ramble for 3 minutes going on and on about it. He actually did seem more, I don't know, confident, pointed. There's something in effect there. So again, it's still to the point of cool, sounds better than it has, but we all still will say this again, show me. I need to see something different. I need to see oh, hey, we're coming away from this game. Tank Bigsby just got 10 carries. Cool, there we go. Yeah, now we do have some difference. Don't say that, and then we go into it and say, well, Saquon got 15 carries. He ran for 30 yards. The run game's not fixed. Jalen threw 14 hitches in the game, and we scored 14 points as an offense. That's it's a fireable offense already.
Would be nice.
Would
be nice. Yep.
Change something. Yep. Brian with I think 500 more yen, if I believe.
Okay. A lot of yen going around tonight.
There we go. It could be a different symbol as well. It's the Y with the two equal sign across. I think that's it. I didn't Google it to check, but I just see a Y, and I assume.
It is, yes.
Okay, it is.
That is yen.
Okay, yeah. Well, there you go. See, I know currency. If we lose the NFC East, I think Sirianni and KP are both gone. Need a win and a little life from the offense to have confidence again.
Yeah, I mean, literally, if Dallas loses tomorrow and Philadelphia wins on Monday night and looks good doing it, people are going to buy back in. Because then you have the Commanders, who that defense is 90 years old, and Jaden Daniels, is going to come back and save a floundering 10-loss Commander team. I'm not sure. Buffalo is basically the NFC or the AFC, version of Philadelphia. I mean, they're all the expectation. Quarterback very polarizing. The offense hasn't looked that good. They run the football much better than Philadelphia. Defense playing much worse than the Eagles was up until the Bears game. Very interesting matchup there, and they play the Commanders again, right? I mean, and also the Raiders are mixed in. If they lose the Raiders, we're done officially. But it's a pretty easy schedule, and they should be okay.
Yeah, and Dallas. Just speaking of the comment for where they're at. Obviously, they play tomorrow night. The Lions. It is interesting. Just again, getting a pulse check of where the thoughts are, favorites, underdogs, everything there. Dallas has proven it back-to-back weeks, so it's entirely possible that they beat the Lions. I am just surprised that Dallas is still an underdog to the Lions, who are very likely going to be without Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's
sure
technically
seems like
questionable, but it feels like just mind games that they're going, well, maybe he plays, just to throw off the scent to Dallas. The ankle injury that he suffered there, he hasn't gotten in any practices. He's been on the side field getting, a little bit of rehab, but you're not going to insert him into the game. I would be shocked if Amon-Ra St. Brown plays. So then you go, all right, they're going to be without their starting best receiver, best option on offense. And we've just seen the Cowboys, even though the Eagles choked it away, it's not all on them, but still the Cowboys beating the Eagles and then beating the Chiefs. And those are two impressive victories being underdogs.
Yep.
I don't know. The Lions are favorites, and you do think about what last year was 47-9 or something. What it was that Detroit just beat the brakes off. But it's different. Feeling that Dallas has been gaining momentum. Detroit's on the opposite side. Maybe the backup against the wall helps the Lions in this scenario, but it would be a little nicer if Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery,
it would be
300 rushing yards, and we say okay,
Please.
I will say this. We talk about film and just analysis on this. One thing that I did pick up on just from seeing across the Twitterverse, if there's a way to beat the Cowboys defense, especially now, the way they've started running a 5-man defensive front and where they struggle against the run game, it is whenever you are under center. And a lot of offenses don't like to do this, but the Lions will run a lot of under center plays, and you've seen it with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So my hope and prayer is that even without their star receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, who's out, and their offensive line who has had its struggles, just run the ball. Just dominate time of possession, run the ball, get the defense, hurting, and then keep Dak Prescott off the field because the Lions, their defense is bad, especially for the pass defense, to stop Pickens. So we'll see. I don't know.
We'll see.
Good possibility. Several super chats here I'll run through as well. Appreciate you guys. JP with a 5. This is all asinine. Who would have had Chicago being number 1 in the NFC, Dallas, Baltimore, and KC knocking on the door entering Week 14 at the beginning of the season.
And the Patriots are the 1 seed as well. We're talking about 2 football teams that were nothing last year. Get the quarterback and the coach right, and right to the top. Rebuilding is not hard in the NFL. If you get the quarterback and the coach correct, you can immediately turn your organization around. The Commanders did it last season because he's been injured this year, and then they signed a bunch of 40-year-olds in free agency, which didn't make a lot of sense. But it's not that hard to do. I mean, the NFC playoff picture is going to change a bunch. What really will matter, Josh, is less about where you're seated and more about who you're matched up against, right? Philadelphia could be the 2 seed. They could be the 3 seed. And if you're playing Tampa early on, you're playing Carolina early on, you're playing, I think the Niners as well are not that good. Those make a ton of sense. I think the Packers, too, would not be a bad, host or playing in Philadelphia. You want to avoid the Rams. You want to avoid, obviously, the Seattle Seahawks. I think you want to avoid the Dallas Cowboys right now, especially recently. How they match up is more important about where you're seated, because eventually you do have to beat the Rams, but if you have the momentum going into that football game, anything is perfectly possible.
Yep. And as we've seen, it's been this season, the craziness,
Yep.
extremely early in the year, and obviously they gained momentum. But to JP's point about just the madness of it, the Patriots lost to the Raiders.
Yep.
They lost
Week
to
1.
the Raiders. And now here we are. You would go, how on earth does that happen? But again, it's like, okay, they built momentum in the right way, and they continue to get better. Whereas we've struggled, maybe even more so since that week. But JP with a 2. Doug was hired over a fight over hiring control. Yes. Peterson
fired over a fight.
Sorry,
over,
not hired.
yes,
Fired.
Yes.
Fired over a fight over hiring control.
Yeah, he had an offensive coordinator that he didn't really want to demote. And then by the time that it happened, it was too late. Although Doug and Sirianni are in very different holes or rooms, whatever you want to call it. And the fact that Sirianni does have a franchise quarterback, Doug pretty much did not after 2017, because Wentz was never the same. Never the same. And everybody knew that, Nick Foles looked pretty good. I mean, whenever he got to play, 2018, we forget about 2018. They started out hot, and then back comes Carson Wentz, and they're hoping he comes around, and they never actually did, and then he got hurt again, and then Foles was inserted, and they went on this run, and it was like, it was because they had to try to make Carson Wentz work, and probably because the offensive coordinator that was around him, it's all Doug Peterson's, he's in control, but very different from Nick Sirianni's roster, well, quarterback and roster as well. Nick Sirianni has the Avengers, at least he did last year. They don't really play like the Avengers right now, whereas Doug Peterson did not. You're muted.
Kimmy? Yeah, there we go. I was going to say, the personnel's still there.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part. There's some injuries, so that is
all
affecting.
Still there.
But Aisha with the 5. Hey, guys, I'm a super loyal Birds fan and believe in our Eagles, but scary part is that they can win or lose out the rest of the games. Hope their W's. Go Birds.
Yeah, they could lose out. They won't lose to the Raiders. The Raiders would be, holy cow. If they lost to the Chargers and then the Raiders, then people are getting fired. Fired. But
fired.
At worst, they'll lose the Chargers, beat the Raiders, and then have to go 3 straight to go ahead and close it out to, win the division for back-to-back years in the first time in 2 decades or whatever it is. So we'll see.
That would be bad. Yeah. But the shades of 2023 that some people are throwing out there do make sense in the terms of it's like flipped offensive and defensive struggles.
Yeah.
But you have the loss to the Cowboys, you lose a game to Chicago, you lose the number 1 seed, and then go out to the West to play an opponent on a Monday Night Football game. You think about 2023, that happened. It was the Seahawks on a Monday Night Football game when Drew Lock ends up beating us on the walk-off. So people throwing out the similarities. Their schedule is very similar. Opponents are kind of similar. The storylines are there. They can write things. And Sirianni, as we said earlier, he said, I learned a lot of things to avoid the pitfalls, so we won't see that. But it's just lip service if we don't see any difference and don't see changes dramatically from the offense and showing up. So Dagger with the 5. The obsession with the backup quarterback in Philly is wild. Always has been. After a Super Bowl MVP, the infatuation must be a Harvard study.
Yep. It's just how it is. That's Philadelphia. We're never satisfied. We're always wanting more. We always want overachieving. And we haven't bought into our quarterbacks. I mean, I have. I think most people have. I was all in on Carson Wentz. I've been all in on Jalen Hurts, but a lot of people aren't. And that's what it's like to be in Philadelphia. That's why I think Jalen Hurts is kind of built for Philly, because I truly don't think that he cares. I will be very interested to see what happens to Tanner McKee in the offseason. I think teams are going to come calling, and then we're going to know a lot about how much Philadelphia values him, because if the Saints offer you a second to reunite him with Kellen Moore, what do you do? They obviously love Tanner McKee. Do they love him that much? We'll see.
Yeah, it's nice to have the backup, but I do think that there's obviously an element as well of like, okay, the Eagles won a Super Bowl with the backup. There's a statue outside of the stadium.
Yes, there
of
is.
A backup quarterback. We love Nick Foles. BDN is there for a reason. But, like, if that hadn't happened, then maybe there's not as much clamoring of like, oh, go with the backup. The backups, we got an answer there. There's a possibility. It's great to have Tanner McKee as a backup option if and when Jalen Hurts were to get injured. But I'm with you. Jaelen is the answer for a quarterback. They don't need to be making that change yet. There's a whole lot of other things that they can fix, as we've been saying. Dylan with a 5. People give all the credit to Howie for being a genius GM, yet this genius GM chose Jaelen to be the leader of the team, but people still diss Hurts. And that's a fair point if people are picking and choosing, I guess, in terms of like, oh, Howie can do no wrong, but Jaelen is the man. They decided on him. They believe in Jalen Hurts. I don't think internally. I don't think with Jeffrey Lurie, I mean, you hear what he says, the interactions he has with Jalen Hurts, Howie as well. I don't think that they're doubting the way that Jalen's playing. Now, look, we can also say this too. We've done it multiple times. Jalen had a bad game on Black Friday. He had a really bad game, and he's had a couple bad games this season. So he's not immune to it. But so did Matt Stafford. The Rams lost because Matt Stafford threw 2 picks and fumbled the football. Now their defense also played poorly, so it's a cumulative effort. It's not a. Like I said this on the I think the live stream or the game stream we were talking about, it's a micro focus to go, oh, Jalen Hurts is the issue here. He's the biggest problem. It's like he is contributing to it, and certainly whenever he has bad games. But the overall picture is the common denominator, like 11 out of the 13 weeks, there's not good routes to run. There's no options. There's very little options for Jalen. So he has to be almost perfect to make things work. And if he's not, then we see what happens, and starts getting to be blowouts. We had it against the Giants in New York, and had it playing Chicago last week. Lunar Wolf with a 5, saving our best offensive plays since they're getting filmed for the Hard Knocks. Seriously though, involve tank cut defenses, time on the field. Yes.
Yeah, you would think that sounds fun. That sounds great to me.
Play the run. I mean, the run game, if it could be anything, and especially this time of year because it's getting colder. You got some games that's a little bit more of a grinded out scenario, especially if it's not in a dome. I know some of those change, but if it's outside, outdoors, cold weather, run the ball, time of possession. You can't have a double up scenario again. Like we can't have this 40-minute for Chicago that they did.
Totally
Dylan
agree.
with 5 more. Kevin Patullo reportedly tried to call 911 during the egging. I feel like this is a joke coming. However, he kept calling inside zone. There you go. But come on, guys, he's still human. I could tell where that was going based on the tone. So didn't make the right call.
That's a good one. Sure.
Okay. Yep. Keep the jokes coming there. I think it's pretty good. I did laugh a little bit, even though it's completely inaccurate. Somebody said earlier today about the Kevin Patullo thing that Jalen Hurts was the one that was trying to egg Patullo's house, but he missed it because he can't hit anything, his accuracy. So I was like, it's pretty good. It's totally inaccurate on their assessment, but people are going to be very quick with those. Logging with the 2, if we did fire Nick, what happens to Fangio?
Great question. No idea. Yeah, very rarely would you keep a DC with a brand new regime. He would probably be gone too. And if you're firing Nick, that means you're losing games, and they're not going to lose a lot of games if the defense is balling out. We saw what happened in the Lions game and the Packer game. So I think he would be axed too. If they really did fire Nick, they would probably clean house. Because I think a new OC just doesn't want to deal. A new OC wants to bring his own guys, all my own guys, or a new coach.
True. Yeah, I hear you. I kind of think that Howie and Lurie would still just keep calling the shots. Like they'd be like, "Hey, you're fired. Now we'll interview head coaches." But I kind of think they'd be like, "We are interested in you, but if you come on, you have to understand Fangio stays because they wanted him for so long, and he's proven it.
They did.
And Fangio's even said, this is it. I'm retiring as an Eagles defensive coordinator. He wants to be here however long that is. So I would lean towards Fangio still stays. It's just kind of these are the rules. If you're going to be a head coach or the next head coach, your defensive coordinator is here. It's going to be Vic Fangio. But,
we'll see.
It wouldn't be totally shocking, like you say. I know that a lot of times head coaches come in there, but you just question how much power they would actually give whoever it ends up being. But hopefully that's not a conversation we have, and it's just like, hey, this all figured itself out. Gonzalo with a 5. My house got egged by kids about a year ago, and I don't know if I'll ever get over the emotional trauma.
There you go. See? So that's what we were talking about earlier. Even though throwing eggs is not like throwing, rocks or bricks, it's still the fact that you're at your own house with your family is the real issue, and why no one else needs to do that, please. Like, we just don't need that rap in the Philadelphia Eagle fan base world. Just move on. Whatever happens, you don't need to go take it out on someone's place where they sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. Janito, I think is how I would pronounce that, with a 10. Appreciate that. Says, let's raise our banner for Tanner. So there's the...
I would rather not.
Comments.
I would rather not have to do that. I mean, again, we're asking for things that mean that Philadelphia just goes off the rails, and in a bad way.
Right.
So not really looking for that. But
the hope is that, maybe Tanner plays the last week of the season, because it doesn't matter. We've won out, and it's the last game against the Commanders, and you go, Jalen, get your rest. Some of the other guys get your rest. Tanner, go and enjoy it, have fun, but little ways to go. Brian with the 500 yen more. Appreciate that, Brian. Nick and KP know something needs to change, but they are too focused on penalties and not turning the ball over instead of getting the offense going.
You see, even if that's true, it's like, can we not do all those things and change the offense a little bit? I mean, it's not that hard. They can't do much to fix penalties besides yell at the people in meetings, right? What are you going to coach them to not false start when they know their own snap count at home?
Yeah,
come on. It's just people being dumb, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's just boneheaded errors. They can fix the offense by calling better plays. Focus on that.
Yeah, and there's basically no repping it. Like, you could go to practice and say, hey, we're going to line up again, guys. Let's run. Okay, don't false start, like you said.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's really being even said about it. It's like everyone knows, the players know, and they just have to show more focus, and for some reason they don't. And it's trickled down to every single person in the building, and it's ridiculous. Red Scorpion, the 20 bomb. Let's go. Appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to be in SoFi this Monday cheering on our Birds. My brother is a Bolts fan sitting close to me. The Birds are going to win, so don't jinx it. No, I didn't win these tickets from you. So
Okay. All right.
Well, it's I hope they do. I hope for your sake, and really honestly for your brother's sake, that he can enjoy or have to put up with an Eagles win, and then you can let him hear about it. But I don't know. Like I said, predictions on the game, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm really hoping for it. Frankie with a 5. What I personally don't like is how Sirianni will sit there at the presser and basically tell us nothing and everything is okay.
Yeah, he basically gaslights us every single week.
Yep.
Full on gaslighting.
And it's been the
Full
same.
on.
It goes
That's how
both
he is,
ways.
though.
Yeah, it has. Nothing has changed from even, like, winning cures all. So when the Eagles when they're winning, when they have the win streak and everything else, everybody puts up with the Sirianni press conference a lot more. Now, you don't care as much of what he's saying because he's going to praise the entire roster, and it's going to take 10 minutes to do that. But at least you're like, who cares? We're winning ball games. No big deal. But then, yes, when there's some adversity, he's saying some things very different to the team that you see even a little bit of Hard Knocks whenever he's mic'd up there, that he's actually saying some things of value, as opposed to, okay, you get up in front of the media, the press conferences, it's the typical word salad that we get every week. Gary with a 5, longtime Eagles fan from Australia. There you go.
Wow.
Living in Berlin now, though. Do we see a pattern happening here? 2022 season, Super Bowl 23 bust, 24 season, Super Bowl 25, ?
Yeah, well, then that would mean 26, you win another Super Bowl. So we'll see. I hope it. I honestly, I hope
if
that's
I
not
knew
the pattern,
that was the case,
we would take it. But
we would, but
long way to go.
Like you said earlier,
Long way to go.
It's so hard to even make the Super Bowl, let alone win it. So, it seemed to be that pattern, unfortunately. Maybe they break it. We'll see. Brian, going to the U.S. over the holidays. There you go, and we'll be in Philly area if they can pull out the rest of the season. Going to be at the Commies game. Okay, go Birds.
Okay, there you go. Cool. That'll be fun.
There we go.
That'd be very, very fun as long as they're winning, right? That'd be good.
Brian,
time.
We are hopeful. All of us are. Yes. Just get it back on track. Maybe, hopefully. We're praying. Kind of hoping to believe.
We'll see.
Nate, what's up, man? With a 2. Let's see. How did this playbook make it out of training camp?
No idea. Although, if you think back to it, there were signs. People kept saying the offense is struggling, and we all went, but maybe it was actually the same offense that we see now in training camp.
And it's hard to, because, we go back and look, but you always question that because you go, well, maybe the defense is really good.
Maybe.
Right? And so
maybe.
they are good, but
Yeah.
to what extent there? And, you continue to see those differences. I think the biggest thing, honestly, and Nate, you're not wrong in the sense of like, oh, here's the playbook, but the biggest thing is the predictability about all of it, because the defenses know it. You saw the C.J. Gardner-Johnson viral clip that goes off of him. Was it predictable? Did you know what was coming? He winks, but it's not even guys who are familiar with the Eagles offense, because the counter argument, some people going, yeah, but he was here, so he understood that. That's fine. But even if that's the case, that's bad enough. Like, change it up for players that are here from a season ago. It should be different enough to where players aren't able to do that. But it's not just those guys. And we've seen other players, other analysts going, they know what's happening. The Giants said it. Right? You had Javon Holland, I think, that was saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, we know in their route tree, it's 2 options. When they're lined up a certain way, there's 2 things they can do. So you can prep for it. You know exactly what's coming. And they have not changed it since week 3. It's been the same thing, or at least that's when the comment was made. And they haven't changed it. So Bogdan with the 50 bomb. Bro, dropping a 50 here. We appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Says, I think it's time for some big changes. Can't rely on our D. So much like in the last game, it's crazy. They were on the field like every 30 seconds going Monday to the game. Okay, there you go. They better show up. By the way, love the show. Keep it up, guys.
We appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, geez, just the amount of 3 and outs. It literally is. Every single time they go out there, it's like, at least get a first down. We say it on the broadcast. Get a first down, give the defense a break, and they go 3 and out instantly and punt. And you're like, well... And that's why I do agree with a lot of people who say that the Eagle defense is not as bad as they were in reality. This past Friday versus the Bears. It's just the fact that they are tired and exhausted, and they can only do so much. And the dam finally broke, and that's the result.
Yep. Even good defenses, like you say, you go back and look at some of the defenses that are on the field and have been playing well. You play them for extended stretches, and eventually it does. You're going to pay for it, especially on a shortened week. So it's a great point there. You do case studies of, like I say, even the better defenses, when the offense is not holding up its end of the bargain and giving the defense some rest, and even just the psychology of it. If defensively you're like, bro, we get to stop here, it's not going to matter. Like, cool, we got a turnover. Is the offense going to do anything? Probably not.
Probably not,
because we're going to march back out there. So even though I do believe that the team is still bought in, there's the human aspect of it that kind of, it's hard to not let that creep in, to go, yeah, I'm losing a little bit of faith here. Like, I don't know if you guys are going to do much whenever we make a stop. And so gotta reboot. Gotta figure this thing out. An extended mini bye is hopefully the best thing. The guys get rested, healthier maybe, and then have some success. But we'll see. Appreciate the 50.
We'll see.
That's big time.
Yes.
We very much. Brian with a 500 yen more. Jaylin is our franchise quarterback, period. More so than ever before. For example, the Jaworski, Cunningham, McNabb, etc. Jaylin is QB1 until the end.
Probably so. Yeah, I mean, I think most of us would agree with that, because the other guys didn't, and he did. So makes a difference.
Okay, Gonzalo, I was wondering if that was sarcasm on the for the 5 more.
I saw that super chat.
I was just kidding.
Yeah.
The egging wasn't that traumatic. But still, I mean, you probably didn't appreciate that. But
sure.
Either way,
sure.
The sentiment stays the same. We would not condone that, and just don't be idiots. There's other stuff for that. Isaiah with a 5. We can hold QB1 accountable for sure. If we could run the ball in 2 games, Denver and Dallas, we'd be 10-2, just like 2023. What was the issue then? The offensive coordinator.
Yeah, sure feels that way. Yeah, we do forget that they had 10 wins before Thanksgiving in 2023. They didn't even get there. They're not even there yet here in 2025. So a little bit of a difference.
Yep, certainly is. A couple more super chats here before we wrap up. Appreciate you guys. Lunar Wolf with the 2. Over under till we have a consistent offensive coordinator. I don't know what that means exactly. Over under, like timing?
Probably over. Probably going to take longer than we want. Let's say that.
Sadly, that's where we're feeling.
Sadly, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's the over under like the end of the season comment there, but yeah, as we said, I need to see something. I got to have something to believe in that's tangible on the field.
I agree.
Mr. Sanchito with a 5. I think this is the last one here. Hypothetically, if Latu develops into a bigger offensive role this season, do you let Goddard walk in the offseason? Love him, but he's injury prone.
You probably do, not because of Latu, but because they need to get younger. And there's some good tight ends. There's one from Josh and my alma mater, Bryce Triggs. Or Michael Triggs, I think is how you say his name.
Yes.
Is it Bryce or Michael? It's Michael Triggs.
Michael, yep.
Yes, he's probably the top tight end in the class. There's some good tight ends, just like last year. So I think they're going to go tight end early. I wouldn't be shocked if they go offensive line and then tight end, and then, pass rusher or cornerback is kind of their first three with all those draft picks early on. But yeah, I mean, Goddard probably will get paid a lot by a team that has the money to do it, would be my guess. New England has a lot of money. They don't really need a tight end, but a team like that.
Yeah. And he's had a solid season. So, kudos to him there. But yeah, Michael Trigg, we'd be a fan. A little bit biased, obviously, but,
We would be.
Well, let's go last second here. Bogdan with the
Another
50
one.
more.
Jeez,
Bro's got 100 down the stream. Let's go. Bottom line is we got to get our S together. Yes, Dallas is on our ass. So
yes, that's Dallas coming back and winning the division would be the worst nightmare. It did not happen in it technically did, right? They technically did in 2023, but it didn't feel like this, right? It didn't feel this collapse just feels so much different. I don't know why, even though maybe it was worse in 2023 and I'm just, rose-colored glasses, but this would be a nightmare because of how bad Dallas looked early on in the season, whereas in 2023 they at least looked a little bit better pre-trade deadline this year. But appreciate the 50 though, big time.
There we go. Yes, and it would, like you say, it's not only that, but it's the games that you expect them to lose because they were not favorites in, and now they're obviously they beat us, but then the Chiefs game, and now you're looking at the Detroit game. If they were to win that one as well, then you're kind of sensing some momentum on their side. So we will see. Okay, I think we've reached it. Is there anything else, just topics wise?
I don't think so.
Covered a lot of everything from the comments, but making sure we covered it all from that side.
We got more shows coming out this week, so we'll hit on them if we did not in this show. So
there you go. Another reason to just hit the sub button. It's free. I've had some people ask about that. I'm sure you have as well in the comments section or seeing that. It is free. So there's no I don't know. Like some people see the join option. That is different. And sometimes YouTube will serve it to you, but that's the membership aspect, right?
Yeah.
So yes, but to subscribe, it is free and you can get that content and everything else. But either way, however you guys support, we do appreciate it. Could not do this without you. So drop a like for us on your way out if you have not already. And as Thomas said, more videos and everything else to come. As always, go Birds.
Go Birds.